The events that are the basis of this summary trial were investigated and the appropriate charges laid.
Allô, toi?
Bonjour.
Ça va bien?
Ça va super bien,
Ça
toi?
veut dire qu'on s'est pas vu?
Ça fait des années.
Soon after, an assisting officer was appointed for the accused. The accused was provided with a copy of the record of disciplinary proceedings and an information package. He was given the opportunity to choose the official language in which the trial would be conducted.
Hey, t'as juste besoin de lire. Je l'ai fait une couple de fois
Ouais.
là, quand j'étais adjoint au bataillon. Là. Tu fais juste lire.
Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour.
While the commanding officer has the obligation to enforce the pretrial rights of the accused, the CO has delegated that role to the regimental sergeant major. In advance of the summary trial, the RSM meets with the assisting officer, the administrative officer, and the escort to the accused.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. You're the administration
Together,
officer.
they inspect the trial location and run through certain elements of the trial, such as where each participant will
For
stand.
the accused?
Yeah, that's it.
He also talks with the assisting and administrative officers to ensure all pretrial requirements have been met.
Game last night. Did you enjoy those results? Captain Zulu. So, ma'am, I believe you served as administration officer before?
That's correct, RSM, but it's been a while. I could use a refresher.
Okay.
Excellent.
The RSM shows where the CO, as presiding officer, will sit.
Facing the escort and the accused.
Then he goes over the positions of all the other participants. The accused and his escort, the witnesses, the assisting officer, and the administrative officer.
Just on the left side here, just turn yourself, come in a little bit closer,
Okay?
so that you look straight at the escort and accused. Okay? No problems?
No problem.
Finally, he makes sure the room contains any communications equipment should it be required. He checks that the appropriate flags are present.
Captain Zulu,
Yes.
I want you to ensure that there's a Bible, as well as copies of both the oath and the solemn affirmation in both English and French, and you can just tuck them into the Bible.
Excellent. Okay, will do.
The RSM shows the administrative officer where seating will be needed for the witnesses while they wait to be called to testify.
Defense witnesses will be down the hall by the washrooms. Corporal Alpha.
RSM?
Corporal Alpha, I expect that you will remain with the accused throughout the proceedings. That's to include any breaks. When I march you in, I'll march you in under orders parade. March in single file, you'll march behind the accused and slightly to his left. You'll remain standing at attention unless given an order to stand at ease. And you will remain with your headdress throughout the proceedings. Are there any questions?
No, sir.
What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna demonstrate how I'd like you to march in.
Yes, RSM.
Okay. So what you'll do is you'll march in, veer to the left. I'll give the order, escort and accused, halt, right turn, escort, one pace step back, march. Okay? Escort and accused, halt. Escort and accused, right turn. Escort, one pace, step back, march. Questions?
No question, RSM.
Captain Sierra, have you and the accused had the opportunity to review the RDP and the disclosure package?
Yes, we did, RSM. We went over both. The accused is satisfied that everything's there.
And have you had an opportunity?
The assisting officer states that she reviewed the charges with the accused. She confirms that the trial will be held in English and confirms that the accused and any witnesses for the accused will be able to attend the trial on the announced date.
In this case, we will go with the summary trial.
Not a problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Captain Zulu.
Yes.
The RSM then confirms with the administrative officer that all other witnesses have been notified of the trial date and their attendance has been coordinated with their chain of command.
Should be in order.
And is there anything that will stop the public from?
He also ensures that the trial has been advertised in advance through the unit routine orders and that neither the accused nor the presiding officer has made a request to exclude the public from the trial.
Okay. I just want to confirm then that
Yes.
everything is in order here.
Finally, he makes sure that the administrative officer will provide him with the original RDP, the supporting documentary evidence, the accused conduct sheet and pay guide. Also, a current copy of QR&O Volume 2 will be available during the trial.
Everything is ready to go. I think you'll find that everything is organized as per the requests.
Perfect, thank you. Well, that's almost everything. Just a reminder that the dress for everybody is CAD-PAD.
Yes, RSM.
No problem, RSM.
Corporal Alpha,
RSM.
I want you to ensure that you have the accused here at least 15 minutes prior to the trial. Do you understand?
Yes, RSM.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Came back to me. The process wasn't that complicated, I guess, once you get into it.
Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Here we go.
Think so?
How about those Sims? Come in second.
A delegated officer has jurisdiction over the charges that Able Seaman Bravo is facing. However, as covered in Enabling Objective 001.1, a presiding officer loses jurisdiction under certain circumstances, including existence of or apprehension of bias.
Ready to go. RSM, please march in the accused.
Sir.
Major November was originally signed as the presiding officer, but the accused overheard the major tell the RSM that the accused should bring a toothbrush to his trial. The accused relayed this to his assisting officer, who requested that the major not preside over the trial because the comment indicated bias, or at the very least, raised the apprehension of bias. Major November lost jurisdiction on that ground, and he referred the case to the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Romeo.
March! Sir, Able Seaman Bravo, sir.
Thank you, RSM. Before we start, I'll now take the presiding officer's oath. I solemnly affirm that I will duly administer justice according to law, without partiality, favor, or affection. Captain Zulu, could you please read the charges?
Sir. The accused, service number A12.
Captain Zulu reads the charges against Able Seaman Bravo. He's charged under Section 97 of the National Defense Act with drunkenness, and under Section 86A with fighting with Able Seaman Foxtrot.
National Defense Act, drunkenness.
Both charges resulted from events that happened in the mess of a Canadian Forces base at approximately 23:30 hours on the 2nd of January.
At CFB Anywhere, Able Seaman Foxtrot.
Thank you. RSM, have the orders parade stand at ease.
Sir. Escort the accused. Stand up. Leave.
Able Seaman Bravo, before I hear any evidence, there are some procedural questions I need to ask you. Able Seaman Bravo, do you have an assisting officer? And if so, who is it?
Yes, sir. Captain Sierra is my assistant officer, sir.
Sir,
Thank you. Able Seaman Bravo, have you had an opportunity to discuss these charges with your assisting officer?
Yes, sir.
And have you had sufficient time to prepare for this trial, or do you wish to request an adjournment?
Yes, sir. I've had ample time to prepare. I don't need an adjournment, sir.
Fine. Now, do you wish to admit to any of the particulars of the charges? Now, just to be clear, you're not admitting guilt to the charges, but if you admit to some or all of the facts that are not in dispute, your admissions will form part of the evidence I will receive in this trial. I want to emphasize that you're under no obligation to make any admissions. Do you wish to admit to any of the particulars?
Yes, sir. I admit to being at the mess between 1830 and 2400 hours, sir.
Thank you. RSM, we'll call the first witness, Able Seaman Tango.
Sir.
Captain Zulu, please swear in the witness.
The administrative officer administers all oaths and solemn affirmations. Each witness is given the choice of taking an oath on the Bible or making a solemn affirmation. After the oath has been given, the presiding officer asks the witness to give her evidence.
Able Seaman Tango, please describe, in your own words, what you saw happen on the night of 2nd of January.
Sir, on January 2nd of this year, I went to the base mess with some friends. At 23:30 hours, Able Seaman Bravo approached me and offered me a drink. I said, no, I don't want a drink. Then Able Seaman Bravo asked if I'd like to dance with him. I said, no, get lost. At that point, Able Seaman Bravo grabbed my drink, flung it across the room. He yelled at me and he called me a tramp. My friends started to gather around, and at that point, Able Seaman Foxtrot is my boyfriend, approached Able Seaman Bravo and asked what this was all about. And Able Seaman Bravo's response was, "That's the kind of treatment tramps get. And what don't you understand? You never ask a tramp for a dance." At that moment, Able Seaman Bravo and Able Seaman Foxtrot got into a fight. Master Seaman Lima came over and tried to break up the fight, and that's when Able Seaman Bravo headbutted Master Seaman Lima. Sir.
Thank you. Now, Able Seaman Tango, one of the charges against Able Seaman Bravo is drunkenness. Did you see him drinking alcohol that night?
Yes, sir, I did. Able Seaman Bravo was at the mess all night long, and that's what people do at the mess, they drink. Plus, only someone who was drunk would call somebody else a tramp, sir.
Thank you. Able Seaman Bravo, do you have any questions for Able Seaman Tango?
No, sir. No question, sir.
Able Seaman Tango, thank you. I have no more questions. Please stay in the waiting area in case you're called in again. March yourself out.
Able Seaman Tango is the first of 4 witnesses against the accused. Each presents evidence and answers any questions asked by the presiding officer, and then any questions posed by the accused. Private Echo remembers seeing Able Seaman Bravo and some friends sitting around a table early in the evening. She says she saw alcoholic drinks on the table and saw the accused buy a beer at the bar.
I didn't exactly see the fight break out between Able Seaman Foxtrot and Able Seaman Bravo, but I was there when Master Seaman Lima came over and told both men to cool it. Then he got between both men, and that's when Able Seaman Bravo headbutted him. Sir.
Thank you. Able Seaman Bravo, do you have any questions for Private Echo?
No, sir. No question, sir.
I have one more. Private Echo, did you see Able Seaman Bravo throw Able Seaman Tango's drink?
No, sir. But I did hear glass shattering. Sir.
To the best of my ability, sir, what happened that...
Able Seaman Foxtrot is the boyfriend of Able Seaman Tango. He says that Able Seaman Bravo hit him without any warning.
We are here because...
At this point in the trial, the assisting officer asks a question on behalf of the accused.
Able Seaman Foxtrot, when was the first time you saw Able Seaman Bravo at the mess that night?
Just before the fight, when I came back from the head, sir.
So how do you know he was drinking all night?
Well, sir, he must have been drinking if he took a swing at me without warning.
No more questions, sir.
And I have no questions. Able Seaman Foxtrot, march yourself out.
I noticed some shoving, so I went over. I asked what was going on, and Able Seaman Bravo told me to screw off and mind my own business, or words to that effect. Then I moved between him and Able Seaman Foxtrot. And that's when Able Seaman Bravo gave me a headbutt and knocked me down. Sir.
Thank you.
You pay some drinks for me.
One witness is called by the accused. Private Kilo was at the mess with Able Seaman Bravo the night of the incident. She says she and Able Seaman Bravo have been friends for a long time, and they often go out together. She reports that while the accused used to drink quite heavily, he hasn't touched alcohol for 2 years. At the mess that night, the accused bought her a couple of beers. He was drinking cola. Having heard from all of the witnesses, the presiding officer asks the accused if he wishes to testify. In this case, Able Seaman Bravo will testify in his own defense. This means he may also be questioned by the presiding officer.
Sir, I don't drink anymore. It's been almost 2 years. That night at the mess, I was drinking cola. The alcoholic drinks that I bought at the bar were for my friends, sir. I was just being nice to Able Seaman Tango when I offered to buy her a drink and asked her for a dance. I found Able Seaman Tango's response and attitude to get lost to be very rude. When I turned to leave, I accidentally knocked her drink off the table. For no reason, Able Seaman Foxtrot, who was obviously drunk, came from across the room, screamed at me, and hit me, sir.
Able Seaman Bravo, what do you have to say about Master Seaman Lima?
After Able Seaman Foxtrot hit me, I pushed him away. That's when Master Seaman Lima positioned himself in between us, sir.
Thank you. I have no more questions. Able Seaman Bravo, do you or your assisting officer have any representations you wish to make on the evidence we've heard here today?
Yes, sir. I don't think you should accept as evidence the testimony of Able Seaman Foxtrot and Able Seaman Tango, saying that the accused was drunk that night. You should believe the accused and Private Kilo, that both saying that the accused was not drinking that night. Actually, he hasn't drank any alcohol for almost 2 years. And about the fight that night, it was Able Seaman Foxtrot that hit the accused. That's it, sir.
Thank you, Captain Sierra. I'll now adjourn to make my determination of findings. RSM, march out the accused and escort, and please dismiss the witnesses.
Sir, escort accused, attention! Escort, one pace, step forward, march! Escort accused, move to the right, single file, right, ta! By the left, quick, bah!
To avoid any appearance of unfairness, the presiding officer must not hear any new evidence when making findings. If he must ask questions of the RSM, the administrative officer, or any other person, then the accused and assisting officer must be in the room when he does so. During adjournment, the presiding officer applies the offense analysis formula to the charges of drunkenness and fighting. Then, he considers the provisions of each of the two offenses in Section 97 and 86A of the National Defense Act. He looks at the elements of each of the offenses that need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
I found
The identity of the accused, placing the accused at the date and location of the offense, and a guilty state of mind. For the charge of drunkenness, it's necessary to prove that the accused was drunk because of indulgence in alcohol or drugs, and behaved in a disorderly manner or in a manner likely to bring discredit on Her Majesty's service.
Sir.
For the charge of fighting, proof is needed that the accused fought or quarreled with another person subject to the Code of Service
Gave me
Discipline.
a headbutt and knocked me down.
Well, sir,
The presiding officer also considers the evidence presented by all the witnesses and the accused regarding each of the elements for both offenses, for relevance, reliability, and the weight to be assigned to the evidence he accepted.
Able Seaman Bravo.
Mindful of the standard of proof of each element beyond a reasonable doubt, and taking the representations made by the accused on each charge into account, the presiding officer arrives at his findings.
Able Seaman Bravo, on the charge of drunkenness, I find you not guilty. I was not convinced, on the basis of the evidence given by the two witnesses, that you were drunk on the 2nd of January this year. On the second charge, fighting with a person subject to the Code of Service Discipline, I find you guilty. I was convinced, beyond a reasonable doubt, on the basis of the evidence presented here today, that you were in fact involved in a fight with Able Seaman Foxtrot on the 2nd of January this year.
The trial now enters the sentencing phase. The presiding officer will hear mitigating evidence about the character of the accused and state of discipline before passing sentence.
Sir, escort accused, attention!
Before deliberating the sentence, the presiding officer may hear evidence from witnesses who are in a position to testify to the character of the accused. Because they are giving evidence, the mitigation witnesses must be sworn in.
Tout ce que je peux dire sur le matelot de deuxième classe Bravo, c'est un très bon soldat.
The presiding officer first hears evidence from the offender's officer that the offender is a good sailor. This was the first time he was ever charged with a service offense.
De donner son nom.
I'm not a violent person.
The presiding officer also hears from the offender.
Able Seaman Foxtrot
When questioned on how he felt about fighting with Able Seaman Foxtrot,
when Master Seaman Lee.
Able Seaman Bravo states that he shouldn't be expected to do nothing when someone starts shoving him around.
But I just.
He also says that Master Seaman Lima should have minded his own business.
But
I think we need to use this as an example.
When asked, the RSM states that fights undermine the discipline of the unit, and that with fights in the mess, there's the risk of damaging public property.
Pay the price.
Able Seaman Bravo is a good sailor.
The assisting officer states that, since this is the first time the offender was charged with an offense, and given that it was Able Seaman Foxtrot that started the fight, a caution would be the appropriate punishment. In deliberations, the presiding officer considers all sentencing factors, as well as representations by the assisting officer. The presiding officer also considers the offender's conduct sheet and pay guide. Guided by the principles of specific and general deterrence, he contemplates a sentence that is proportionate to the seriousness of the offense and the degree of responsibility of the offender. The presiding officer follows the general rule that the proper sentence is the lowest punishment that will maintain discipline. The presiding officer starts with the least severe punishment within his powers and asks himself the question, is this punishment sufficient to maintain discipline? If the answer is no, he asks himself whether that punishment could be legally combined with another punishment in order to arrive at an appropriate sentence. If the answer is still no, he would move to the next more severe punishment until he can answer yes.
Able Seaman Bravo, having found you guilty of fighting, I sentence you to a fine of $400 and I award you 5 days confinement to barracks. On considering the evidence I received, I found the following aggravating and mitigating factors. First, you are a good sailor, and this is the first time you've been charged for an offense. However, I found you were not remorseful, and also that fights undermine unit discipline, and finally, they risk damage to Crown property. The purpose of the sentence is to discourage others from fighting in the mess and to specifically discourage you from reoffending. You have the right to request a review of the findings and/or the sentence of this summary trial within 14 days of today, unless the reviewing authority grants an extension. The review authority, in this case, is the officer to whom I am responsible in matters of discipline, which is the base commander.
Following the summary trial, the sentence is recorded in Part 6 of the RDP, and a list of witnesses is attached. If the presiding officer is not the accused CO, the RDP is sent to the accused CO for appropriate action.
Bravo and his escort.
Sir!
The appointment of an assisting officer for the review process is governed by the provisions of Queen's Regulations and Orders, Article 108.45, Paragraph 18.
Right! Ta! Escort accused. Move to right and single file. Right! Ta!
When the sentence is detention, the Director General, Military Careers, is notified. Any property used in evidence is restored to those entitled to it. Next, the unit RDP register is updated and the results of the summary trial may be advertised in the next routine orders. Finally, a copy of the completed RDP is sent to the unit legal advisor by the 7th day of the month following the summary trial for legal review.